It's always cool to have something for free, especially when it's Dungeons & Dragons related. GameMasters here and Wizards of the Coast gave out the first chapter of Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel for free, mainly to build up hype for the book, but also partly because the book's release was behind schedule. It was available for free on D&D Beyond up until June 28th. Did you miss it? Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. And remember, the book itself is due out on July 19th. While this is lacking things like the credits, although Wizards did post those online, and the disclaimer is not included, nor is the table of contents, we do get a better sense of what the Radiant Citadel is, and how we can make use of it in its setting, and most importantly, how to get our characters there. Years ago, perhaps eons ago, a mysterious creature found a large diamond called the Auroral Diamond, and wound itself around said diamond, eventually passing away. Over time, the body of that creature fossilized, and over more time, 27 different civilizations discovered this fossil and diamond and carved out a place to live and thrive. On the outskirts of the diamond are 15 large, massive gemstones called Concord Jewels, which orbit the city and can be used as a means of transportation back to the founding civilization's faraway home. Okay, so it breaks down like this. The Concord Jewels, while not exactly spelljammer ships, have the ability to house hundreds of folks and tons of goods. Each one has a link to one of the civilization's home planes. For example, if you were among the founders and came from Auroral in the Forgotten Realms, one of the Concord Jewels would be linked to that location. The main language spoken is Common. However, many other languages are also spoken, and it's not unusual to find humans, dragonborns, dwarves, elves, gnomes, halflings, other races walking and mingling about on any given day across the Citadel. We just mentioned that the Radiant Citadel was originally founded by 27 different civilizations. Where we pick up, where this book starts, only 15 remain. The missing 12 civilizations would be up to the players and the DM to create. While the Citadel is not meant to be a nexus to be used as a home base like what Waterdeep might be if you played in Forgotten Realms or what Palanthas might be if you played in Dragonlance, it does act as a hub of sorts, allowing players to explore the shops and interact with the NPCs, picking up adventures along the way that can take them off the Diamond City and place them onto or into another plane. Before we jump into off-world adventures, I want to first take a look at a few of the locations given to us in this first chapter. You have, of course, the giant Auroral Diamond, and this thing can actually shift colors, although no one really knows why it does. Some speculate that its shifting color means that either a new civilization has been born somewhere in the multiverse or that an existing civilization has been snuffed out. Others speculate that it is counting down to some unknown event. The Court of Whisperers is just southeast of the Diamond, and these folks crave knowledge. They buy and sell information and might possibly hire on some of the adventurers either for short-term reconnaissance or long-term infiltration. The area here is a mixed indoor-outdoor location with lots of alcoves for private meets, but also open plazas so that folks can be conspicuously seen. The Trade Discal is just north of that. It actually winds a bit around the Diamond itself and is a massive marketplace where everyone in the Citadel can meet to barter and trade for goods, food, clothing, animals, or that sort of thing. It's not uncommon for adventurers to be hired to oversee the transport of goods to and from the Citadel to a civilization's home world. The Palace of Exile, that's a place of, how should I put it? Okay, sometimes adventurers are cast out from their hometowns. Listen, through day-to-day adventuring, things happen. Sometimes shady things happen. Sometimes conflict and disaster can happen following those adventurers. The Radiant Citadel is always welcoming without judgment and provides those would-be exiled adventurers a place to call home. A group of such adventurers established the Palace of Exile to help out other adventurers that may be in need of a new home. The Preserve of the Ancestors can be found within the Auroral Diamond itself and contains trees, insects, birds. It's really a wilderness in there. Not exactly a zoo, but there are druids that will bring rare animals here to live if that animal can no longer live on its own home world. This is also a location that spirits will dwell called Incarnates, and we'll get to them in a little bit. One location that isn't found here, but can be found right in front of you, is the like button. If you're enjoying this video, I encourage you to tap it. It really helps me to get my videos out to more eyes, and I thank you kindly for that. There is also the House of Convalescence. You might could say that this is a hospital. The injured, sick, and down on their luck will visit this place, as not only can physical ailments be healed, but also can mental ones. When Raise Dead, Resurrection, Revivify, and True Resurrection are cast here, you don't need the diamond material component. When you roll your dice to regain lost hit points, you are instead granted the highest number possible. So instead of rolling a 2d6, you would simply just restore a full 12 points. Just outside the Radiant Citadel, just past where light can reach, is an ethereal cyclone called the Keening Gloom. This cyclone can sense turmoil within the Citadel, when there is turmoil, and will edge ever closer. However, during times of bliss and uplifting order, the cyclone is kept at bay. Some theorize, however, that the cyclone will eventually engulf the entirety of the Citadel. The Concord Jewels, and I told you we'd get back to them. As mentioned, these are more or less dwelling-sized ships used for transport to and from the Citadel to a civilization's home world. Remember, too, when I mentioned that originally there were 27 civilizations, but now there are 15, leaving 12 missing? While most of what is found in this first chapter is pretty general, we are given this. Missing civilizations and their jewels are not listed and can be detailed as you please. I take this as a full-on granting of permission for me to incorporate my own homebrew creations into this setting. I mean, I think most of us would do that anyways. To use Concord Jewels for travel, there are controls within it, and one must make a DC 14 intelligence check to make them work. Assuming you can do the following. Land. The ship will land in a safe position either in orbit around the Citadel or on the surface of a material plane world. Embark. The ship will take off. It flies at a rate of 50 feet per second. Plane shift. The ship can shift between planes. This makes it an easy way to navigate from the Citadel to your homeworld and back again. I'd also think at this point the movement is going to be far greater than 50 feet per round, although this first chapter does not really specify that. Life in the Citadel, while on the surface, appears to be surreal. I mean, listen, you're living on a fossil that's embraced a diamond that is floating in space. It doesn't get much more surreal than that. But a closer investigation shows that folks come and go. Some leave due to their own thoughts of impending doom from the cyclone that we spoke about earlier. Others are going to leave because they don't like the confines of the Citadel and have the need to stretch their legs, so to speak. As some folks leave, others discover the Citadel for themselves for the first time and find it to be rich with arts and culture. The communities within borrow from one another, with artworks, clothing, and even food becoming a blended mix of fusion. While there is no standing army, the Citadel does have a strong governance of politics and diplomacy, governed by a council called the Speakers for the Ancestors, with each one being a descendant of one of the founding civilizations. This group creates laws that are designed to be fluid, with sub-councils and committees managing the city. Theft is rare here, as is other forms of crime. However, there are guards that can be called upon should there be an act of violence. From there, the offending person is dealt with and then is banished from the city. Groups within the Citadel can hold different influence within, helping to guide the populace and protect them. And we've already spoken about the Speakers for the Ancestors, but another group is called Shield Bearers. Shield Bearers are the guards, and many adventurers that thrive at the Citadel are asked to become one. They follow strict rules of engagement, which are designed to prevent the shield bearer from impacting local conditions or kind of taking sides in a conflict. Thankfully, however, conflicts are rare due to where the Citadel is located, in the Deep Ethereal. Kind of a hard place to get to. Well, evidently not so much anymore, but that's partly why adventurers will be recruited to become shield bearers. The other big group, and we talked about these guys earlier a little, are the Incarnates, the spirits that live and dwell within the preserve of the ancestors. These spirits can inhabit small gems that can coalesce into familiar-looking things, a plant or an animal. There are different types of Incarnates, small spirits that have nowhere else to go, and others called Dawn Incarnates. The Dawn Incarnates originate from, the original civilizations that founded the Radiant Citadel. They can be over 12 feet in height and can be made up of thousands of tiny gemstones. The Dawn Incarnate know everything that happens and is said within the preserve of the ancestors. And while any given Dawn Incarnate is made up of many different gemstones, how do I explain this one? Okay, so each gemstone contains a spirit. The Incarnate is a convalescence of many gemstones, which means that one singular Dawn Incarnate can have various personalities depending on which spirit is acting as the dominant one. Now, that's not to say that the Dawn Incarnate have multiple personalities. They share more of a collective personality, kind of like the Borg. However, individual spirits can surface, and some may know information that others within that Incarnate don't. While the book contains adventures in later chapters, which go into great detail, in this first chapter, we're only provided 4 adventure hooks. You can either roll a d4 or pick one. You might be hired to uncover a plot of a corrupt council member, or be asked to oversee a negotiation to increase trade with the Citadel. Or you may be tasked with investigating why the Keening Gloom is growing closer. I'm sure some of those adventure hooks will entangle with some of the larger adventures found in later chapters as well. The Radiant Citadel connects to many worlds across different planes. This first chapter has given us a taste of some specifics, but at the same time has spurred on the curiosity of what the rest of the book will hold. While the mechanics are presented here to help connect your campaign setting to this one, the book offers up a few ways. Citadel locations. The players may very well have grown up in the Citadel since birth, or they may have been hired to be stationed there by a world-hopping organization. Founding residents. The players are already aware of the Citadel, but are from locations, as mentioned in other areas of the book, and are simply wanting to visit the Citadel to learn more. Ruin explorers. The party runs across the ruins of a long-lost civilization. While a few buildings may remain in decrepit state, one odd thing does remain, the Concord Jewel, the ship that can take them to the Citadel. And I think this one is by far my favorite. I easily could fit into any given setting, but having the players run across this massive mysterious jewel that is actually a ship, that's just cool. Sanctuary Seekers. The party is in their hometown, or at least in the hometown of one of the party members, and an impending doom threatens to wipe them out. As the adventurers try to find a way to prevent that impending doom, they discover a Concord Jewel and realize that the town is actually one of the missing 12 civilizations, although they may not fully know it yet. This, too, is a pretty cool introduction to the Radiant Citadel, and it will easily bridge the gap between any given campaign setting and the contents found within Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. As mentioned, all of this information can be found in the first chapter, and if you'd like to see more of what we've uncovered in the rest of the book, check out this playlist. What's one of the elements that you are most looking forward to? For me, it's got to be the shops. Oh, and of course the secret that lies behind the Keening Doom itself. Let me know in the comments below what you are most looking forward to, and until next our paths cross, may your Concord Jewel steer true.